Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
And you got much closer than Chairman Alon last week, so that's great. I appreciate it. Daniel Erspamer, CEO of the Pelican Institute. For those who don't know, the Pelican Institute is Louisiana's free market think tank. So our job is to study the conditions, the policy conditions in Louisiana, try to better understand what are barriers to opportunity and flourishing for every person in Louisiana, clear those barriers out, and create those pathways to opportunity. Tax reform is a major component of what drives or disincentivizes opportunity in Louisiana. And I just want to commend Chairman Bishop and Chairman Alon for taking on a big, heady issue. There's a reason, and Representative White mentioned she had brought legislation. I know Representative Ivey has brought legislation, Representative Wright, Representative DeVilliers. Many of you on this committee have brought similar measures before. It's hard work, and it's hard. The Secretary mentioned they ran a whole bunch of different numbers. Here at the Pelican Institute, we ran, through Chairman Alon mentioned, the dynamic scoring model so we can understand really a broader sense of what the impact on the economy and jobs would be by tax reform. We ended up, I believe the last count was 27 different iterations before we got to a plan that, from our perspective, was fair, flat, simple, and most economic growth positive, maintaining as close to revenue neutral as possible. So this is hard work, and I want to come to the table to support this measure, and you'll see green cards, you'll see support from the Pelican Institute on any of these plans that moves us closer in the right ways, steps forward to low, flat, fair, simple, and predictable, right? Those are the principles to which we should aspire. This measure is a really important step in the right direction, and we are in full support of the chairman's bill. I just want to mention a couple thoughts just to echo some of what's already been said. The first, complexity really is the sin of our tax code. As we look at high, low, middle, by any measure, we're somewhere around the middle of the pack, or the sort of low end of the middle of the pack on overall tax burden. But when you get to complexity, Robert's maps were so great because they show, as a family or a small business or an entrepreneur or even a large business is looking at where they should move. And let's be clear, we're sitting in a unique moment in time with the most mobile workforce in the history of the world. We see people moving in droves, companies moving, entrepreneurs moving, families moving from high tax, high regulation states, California, New York, Illinois, to those states that have been mentioned earlier, North Carolina, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, with more friendly climates and an opportunity to really have an enterprise thrive. That's within our grasp here in Louisiana. We know how great a state in which we live. People come here by the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions in some years on purpose to enjoy our festivals and food and culture and sporting. There's no reason they shouldn't want to live here as well, but we make it a challenge to do so, especially if you are one of those small entrepreneurs or families that don't have the resources for lobbyists and lawyers and CPAs to take advantage of a complex code. So I just want to commend the chairman and the members for taking up this important issue. There'll be a lot of debate. I'm grateful to hear it and see it, and we just encourage you to think boldly and to think about what is going to create a better environment for working families in the state, what is going to make a better environment for entrepreneurs and attraction of new individuals, new families to our great state. And so with that, I'm grateful for the time to present our perspective, and thank you for your work.
You do have one question,
Yes, sir.
Representative Mincy.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Same question I've asked previously. Does the Pelican Institute want to weigh in on which do you think is our best approach considering the state that we're in right now?
Yes, sir. So the Pelican Institute, we made a recommendation 2 years ago that has been modeled in a few different bills. Our preference is as low, flat, and simple as possible. So we do have a preference for a flat tax over a graduated income tax. We do have a preference for fewer credits, preferences, and deductions more preferences, credits, and deductions. We're going to support any measure that moves us closer to that ideal, but But very directly, our preference would be as low flat rate as possible. I think the triggers that Chairman Alon mentioned are a great way to move us toward that over time. We can do what we can do now. And if our bet is right, that this grows the economy, it attracts more families into the state. If you're skeptical of that idea, the triggers are a great thing to adopt, because you can trust but verify. And if in fact revenues increase, if in fact the economy grows, then we can get closer to that ideal. I hope that answers your
Thank you
question.
for your response.
Thank you, Representative Mincy.
That makes us 2 for 2, Representative Mincy. Okay, thank you so much for your time. For information